And welcome back everyone to the Corbett 5 a day higher plus, and it is 3rd of Feb. Let's go with the first question. Now I like this month. This month is starting to mix up the questions again, isn't it? So we've got a Venn diagram question now. So what do we have? So probability of F, probability of B. Okay, let's draw the Venn diagram. So I have F as one of my sets and I have B as my other set. What do I need to do? So draw a fully labelled Venn diagram. Okay. Well, it's fully labelled. Let's put the universal symbol up there. I'm going to label this F, so I've done that properly, and label this B. So far, so good. Now, it says the probability of being, so I'm reading this one here, the probability of being in F or in B is 0.8. So that means the probability of being in neither is 0.2. Then these numbers here, well, they add up to 93, don't they? Or 0.93 to be more correct. So 0.93 is 13 above 8. So I need to double count 13. In other words, 13 must go in this centre bit here. Let's zoom in so you can see what I'm doing a bit clearer. So that must go in there. Now, if the probability of F is 31, and I've already used 13, well, that means the remaining 18 must go over here. And obviously by 18, I mean 0.18. So then with B, if the probability of the whole circle B is 0.62, and I've already used 0.13, it must be the case that the remaining 0.49 go in the B alone. And that's it. There are only 4 sections to a 2-set Venn diagram. The F section, the middle section, the B section, and the section on the outside. So I've done all 4 numbers. Question done. Next question. Oh, it continues. Okay, let's go back. So next question says, find, it's much easier if you read these in English out loud. So find the probability of something not being in F and being in B. So it's not in F, it's going to be the 0.49 or the 0.2. But I also want it to be in B. So the only one of those numbers that's also in B is 0.49. So the answer to my question is 0.49. Not too bad. Question done. Next question. The line L is a tangent to the circle x squared plus y squared equals 68 at the point P. P is the point, gives you the point, that's good. Okay, so basically it's saying what's the equation of the tangent. So quick, yeah, I don't really need to do this, but quick sketch. Let's do it here so I don't use my working space. So I know I've got a circle here. I know the radius is root 68. 2/8 is across 2. It doesn't really matter exactly, but it's about there, which means I've got a line that looks something like this. In other words, I've got a negative gradient and I can sort of have a rough guess as to what my numbers are going to be. The way to do this is always the same. The gradient of the radius to get to that point is up 8 and across 2. So in other words, it's 4, which means the gradient of my tangent is going to be minus a quarter. Now, if it goes through 2/8, it is therefore the case that y equals minus a quarter x plus c, using the point 2/8, which means that 8 equals minus a quarter times 2 plus c. Well, minus a quarter times 2 is minus a half. Add a half to both sides gives me 8.5, which is also known as 17/2. So in other words, c is 17/2. So the answer to my question, actually this is not too bad at all, is it? Is minus a half x, no it's not minus a half x, having said that I've now made an error, minus a quarter x plus 17/2. Completely unintentional example of why you need to be careful when you are doing a question that's a bit easier. Next question. Okay, gravitational force. Right, so this is a proportion question, isn't it? Now, these questions are very similar all the time. It gives me a relationship. So the relationship is that F is proportional inversely to the distance squared. So that means I can write that F is equal to K over D squared. That's my relationship, that's my formula. Then it gives me some numbers, doesn't it? So it says when F equals 4, D equals 3. So in other words, I can say that 4 is equal to K divided by D squared, which is 3 squared, which is 9, which means that K is 4 times 9, which is going to be 36. And now I have an equation where I know what the K is. So in other words, very generally, I can say that F equals 36 divided by D squared. Next part of the question, again, is always very similar. So now it says find the value of F when I know what D is. So therefore, when D equals 6, F equals 36 over 6 squared, which is 36 over 36, which is 1. Not a bad question, but it's a typical sort of layout for these sort of questions. One of these, which once you get familiar with, isn't too bad at all. Let's make that screen slightly better. Final question today. Find the set of values of x that satisfy both. Okay, so I've got a quadratic and I've got a linear. Well, let's do the linear first. These are all about finding the critical values for each of these and then pulling it all together. So this first one, I'm going to try and do it in one. So just make sure you're okay with what I'm doing. So I'm going to add 6x to both sides. That's going to give me 8x. Then I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So that's going to give me is greater than 12, which means x is greater than 12 over 8, which is also known as 3 over 2. That's my first critical value, 3 over 2. Then this one here, the quadratic, well, I'm going to rearrange that to x squared minus 6x minus 40 is less than 0, which factorizes 2. Well, 40 is 5 times, no, actually that doesn't work, is it? It's 10 and 4. So 40 is minus 10 and x plus 4 is less than 0. So my critical values, different critical values, my critical values here are minus 4 and 10. So in other words, in order to solve this quadratic, it's going to be all values want less than between minus 4 and 10. Let's bring that all together. So I'm going to write my critical values. It's got minus 4, 3 over 2, 10. So it doesn't matter about scale, but I've got them in order. I want all values that are greater than 3 over 2 not inclusive. And I want all values that are between minus 4 and 10 not inclusive. And I want my solution is going to be where both of these things exist at the same time. In other words, my solution is going to be 3 over 2 less than x less than 10. And that is the final question done today. Well, I don't know if you got all those. As ever, nice mix of questions. We're mixing up from Jan a bit. It feels like we're doing some really different sorts of questions now, which is quite rewarding. Either way, do usual thing, like and subscribe. Do subscribe to the channel. As you may hear from other channels, we get figures on how many people watch but don't subscribe. It just helps people grow, more people see it, and it will just say a small thank you to me. But either way, have a good day, and I'll see you for tomorrow. Thanks all.